I wonder if the others they are here or they choose to have their camera off. I think we could start if you want. It's kind of an intimate framework here. Well, we had 80 something people register for this meeting, but it looks like it's either in a bad moment of the day or maybe people got tired. So we wanted to actually give. We wanted to we wanted to get also a space where we can more freely talk to each other and express the interest to collaborate. As I was saying just before, like we had 84 people subscribing for this session, but there's there's much fewer people present. So I think we probably change the plan. We plan to work a bit in breakout groups, but I think we are a small group enough to have a conversation here. I suggest that we start with a very brief introduction of everyone in the room, and we can have it like just briefly who you are, where are you from, and what is your interest in the topic of art and well-being. Just briefly for the beginning. I hope that we further have more time to expand on the experience of everyone. So let's see, Cornelia, would you start?
Yes, thank you. So I'm from Culture Action Europe, a European network of cultural organizations, networks, policymakers, activists, artists, academics. And I'm here because we've been working on culture and well-being for a while. And we are about to also launch a big culture and well-being project, for which also we will be searching for good examples, mapping projects, cases, initiatives. So therefore, I thought it's worthwhile for me to be here. And I'm answering the door, which you have heard.
Yes, please do. Roma, would you like to go on?
Yes, thank you. My name is Roma. I'm from Vilnius, Lithuania, and I'm actually trying to count how many years I'm working in the art and health field. It's from 2009, when Vilnius was European Capital of Culture, and my project was for Vilnius Children's Hospital, and a group of artists created the artworks and installations for Children's Hospital. And from that time, I'm working in this field. At that time in Lithuania, there was no any policy about art and health. So this year I started also some lobbying, and I'm still in the field. I'm cultural manager, and art and health is my expertise and working area, and I'm working in practical and political level.
Okay, great to know you. Claudia, would you go on?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudia. I am working for Cluj Cultural Centre, and I was the coordinator of the activities implemented within Art and Wellbeing project. Thank you.
Thank you. Hawar, are you there?
Yes. Hello. I'll be with you just shortly. My name is Hawar, and I'm an architect by major, and I am a PhD holder. I'm interested in the intersection between architecture and well-being, and in specific, how the built and architectural heritage contributes to well-being. And I'm actually looking forward to learn more from you today. Thank you.
Thank you. We would hope to have you as much as you're available. Before you leave, if you want to say something more, just let us know so we can give priority to hear your voice.
Yes, thank you.
I would go further to Jiva.
Hi, hello. I'm actually attending this for the first time. I'm a master's student of graphic design from Slovenia, but I'm currently in London. And I just stumbled upon the topic, and I'm really interested and fascinated to know more. So basically, I just want to soak up as much as I can and learn from you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I mean, this is really the space to learn from each other now. It's a totally flat space now. Thank you. Ioana?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I'm not sure if my camera is working. It is. I'm an interdisciplinary artist, and I mostly work with film performance and cultural local initiatives. And I'm here as well to see, in a way, also what brings us together and what kind of interests we have, and as well learn from each other for sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will pass the floor to Marius because I know you're working together.
Yes, I'm a concerned citizen, and in this role, I usually do in the last 6 years a lot of NGO work. In this project, maybe you see we've added Solitar to our names. We challenged the discussion about who cares for the caretaker or caregiver. And we're here to hold space for that conversation if everybody's interested for that.
Okay, thanks a lot. Monica?
Hello again, Monica Urian. I work in the European Commission in Brussels in the Directorate General Education and Culture, and I'm in charge of cultural well-being and health. And I will be able to stay with you until 1:30 my time, so unfortunately only 15 minutes more, but I just wanted to join and hear what you have to say, and hopefully there will be a report afterwards, which I will be interested to have. Thanks.
Yes, thanks. So just the same, if there's something that you would like to say before you have to leave, just please signal it. Yeah. Janna, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Janna from Oulu, from Finland, and I'm working for the city of Oulu for art and well-being, and I'm here just listening you and just learning from you, and let's see what you're gonna talk.
Well, thank you, Janna. And I mean, you're very modest. I know we have a lot to learn from you, as we heard from Lina what you are doing, and you've developed an amazing plan for cultural well-being in Oulu. Okay, let's see. Alex?
Hey, I'm Alex Bogush. I'm from Cluj. I work in the Cluj Cultural Centre. And I think I am mostly interested in the connection between, let's say, art and culture, and well-being in the sense of avoiding burnout and issues of organizational, I don't know, care and attention to energy and stuff like that. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Dan?
Hello, everyone. I'm from Cluj. I am volunteer at Cluj Cultural Centre and association Recover Happiness, Stop Cancer. At association Stop Cancer, Recover Happiness, we are focused for workshop for painting and for well-being and for lecture for the person who recover for cancer illness. And I'm interested in connection what I think the art and the culture can save us, can save us, and can integrate in a special network for well-being. I'm very emotional. I was paralyzed total, but I cover.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for being here, and we appreciate you taking this time, and actually we very much appreciate that Dan is also our volunteer and participates in a lot of the activities that we do directly. I think we still have Cristina and then Adela.
Yes, hi everyone, I'm Cristina Rogoz, also part of Cluj Cultural Centre, but I coordinate, I almost said our well-being initiatives, but that's not the case, educational activities I wanted to say, actually. I'm interested in both well-being and its connection with health, not with health, sorry, with arts and culture, and also the thing that I'm most interested in these days, at least, or this year, is their collective connection with education and educational spaces. So I hope I will have a lot to learn from you today.
Thank you, Adela. Can you also introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Adela. I'm a PR at Cluj Cultural Centre, and I helped communicated some bits of the art and well-being project.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks. Now, my question would be, we had a poll prepared based on, we had a questionnaire, and maybe some of you answered the questionnaire asking what were the topics of interest for you. And maybe, well, we can try it. Let's open the poll. Let's see if that's interesting. If the topics that are listed there are not of your interest, please just choose other. Just to be aware what would be the focus for the conversations that we have here. So I wonder if my colleagues are ready to open the poll. Do you see it? Okay.
I don't see it. I saw something in the chat. Somebody put something in the chat, but
just press pause and you should see it.
I see. I guess 10 people voted. I'm not sure if there's someone else who. Okay. I want. You also see the results of the poll in your. Okay, I think maybe that needs me to, or someone of us to just end the poll. Okay. Now, do you see the results? Okay, so I see that we have a kind of an equal interest for discussing partnerships, discussing the relation between well-being of very specific artistic domains from art education, heritage literature, and the topic that Marius and Ivana proposed, who cares for the caregiver, to which I added also the topic like how do we deal with care within the cultural sector. And yes, we also have some interest in the perspective of the artist. I hope that we can share it in the conversation overall. Are there any other subjects that any of you would like to propose to this? So finally, we don't really have a hierarchy on this topic. So I know that also some of you have expressed the interest to present some projects that you do. Maybe just to warm up the conversation, I would first like to ask you, more from a personal perspective, how do you personally use art to feel better? And yeah, let's start with this one. For instance, I could share like when I feel really tense. I'm not doing a lot of sports, but when I feel tensed, I just put on the music loud and dance. And when I feel really sad, then I write poetry. Yeah. Anyone else that wants to share about their own? Please, we're a small enough group to have open mics open and mute your mic as you want to speak.
Happy to dance with you soon because I'm also a dancer.
I relate with that as well.
Good, excellent. Already a team of 3. And I also sing in a choir, actually.
Wow.
Quite recent, or like for 2 years now. Well, there was a lockdown in between, so 3 years, but no choir.
And did you continue singing online during the lockdown?
It's not the same, no, because at least our little choir, which is very amateur and so on, didn't, because actually the technical possibilities is not working currently. There is no solution so far to sing online. So either you record it and then you mix it, but it doesn't work to sing at the same time, and there is a delay basically.
Okay. So yes, I've heard that a lot of artists that wanted to have improvisations via Zoom, it doesn't work because of these delays. Anyone else that wants to share about their own personal practices with the art?
I read poetry, so if anybody out there writes poetry, I would be interested to read it.
Great. Dan, you wanted to say? You have to unmute your microphone, Dan.
I'm interested. I read a lot of travel literature. I focused on my dissertation and my doctoral experience about travel literature. I consider the travel is a powerful and very, very strong modality to know each other, and I am very passionate about poetry, but I made poetry only for the wonderful person.
Okay. For the special ones, yes?
Not for everybody.
Yes.
Definitely. Poetry, writing poetry sometimes is a very intimate act, isn't it? Anyone else that wants to share?
I also write, but well, you can say it's not really but it is, in a way, it is poetry. I write verses to secretly become a hip hop MC. So I write lyrics for my future songs, but I'm horrible at it for the moment. So it's gonna take some time.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Okay. So the next question from me is what is for you the let's say from the global challenges that are related to health or well-being, what is the one that you would that you are more motivated or interested to address? And it would be nice actually to have everyone responding to this one.
I could start. I think the mental health issues are the most important now, and they are affecting for everybody. And there are so many young people who are big problems now, and I think that's the most important thing that we should think. And it's global, and especially now after the COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Monica, would you like to share your view on this?
Yeah, this is exactly one of the subjects that keeps me awake at night. Yes, this and also everything that is working on prevention, which I think is not enough integrated in our healthcare systems, not taken maybe seriously enough for the moment. And even from an economic point of view, if we manage to show how much this is saving, resources, financial resources for the future, this would be a strong argument. But I mean, the loss of human life, when you see all the wave of young people suicides, I think this is something that is really urgent to tackle. So definitely these two topics that are connected, actually. So really also prevention of health, mental health issues, and cure of mental health issues, especially for young people.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Roma, would you like to go next? Maybe Roma is not around. Anyone else? Just please open your mics and yeah, Roma, please. I've seen that you just unmuted yourself. Please go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just had a phone call, so was distracted for a moment, so didn't follow.
Yeah, the question was, what is, in your view, one of the global challenges that related to health or well-being that you are mostly motivated to explore or support through arts?
I think it's the research and evaluation, because we feel that we have an impact after these activities, after dealing with art, after participating, but we need more research and more evaluation, because we need to have a constant long-term funding, because actually all my project was just projects for some occasion. Vilnius European Capital of Culture. Then I had a pilot project, but it was only for 1 year, and it's not sustainable. We don't, we can't reach good results and permanent results with such short interventions. So I think long-term funding is very important, but to prove for policymakers that we need long-term funding, we need to have more positive evaluations, research methods, and so on and so on. So for me, this question is very important and urgent.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So you already went a little bit into how we were still trying to explore a bit the what would be the topic that would be for you most urgent. Anyone else that wants to go on in answering this one? What to? Yes, Cornelia, please.
Yes, actually, I think I'm always thinking a little bit on the policy level, of course, and I think it might be relatively easier to maybe persuade with the evidence that we have regarding curement, so how culture can cure. But again, this prevention and promotion part is much more difficult, in a sense that you can never say, if this person would not have been participating in this cultural event, it would be having a serious depression, because you don't have the control group against it. And that's actually in current society, since politicians are elected for 4 years, these issues are not at their heart, because it's the same struggle with education. Doing long-term educational investments are actually much more beneficial, because of course a person is developing on a longer term, but it's not worthwhile for a politician to invest in it, because within 4 years maybe you don't have that results, that visible results that can be taken up and said that it's also because of my intervention, or the intervention that politician has started. So yeah, sorry, this is a difficult issue, but I think it lies a little bit at the core of the difficulties, let's say, regarding prevention and promotion.
So you see that prevention and promotion are important, but kind of difficult to it's difficult to make a case around them. Well, for instance, we see that in Romania, it's not even too much of an effort. I mean, we do not even have the structures. I think we have some public health institutes, but we're so much struggling only with treatment, with responding to disease that already is installed. So there's nothing preventive. So furthermore, it's important that such mechanisms are in place. So yes, I think I will not insist with my question. I think we could just simply go on to discuss. Yes, Marius.
In a way, what you're saying kind of leads to what I wanted to also say, is that being so focused on just fixing things up when things go wrong. Of course, other people touched on preventive measures, but what we're interested in is the fact that so far communities have taken upon themselves to do informal caregiving at a large scale, and this happens all over the globe. And without that informal caregiving, the system cannot sustain itself. So just the hospitals would not make it. And I think we've seen during COVID that this is true. Like, the amount of beds in a hospital is scaringly small, like hundreds, for a couple of million people in a region. So for me, this huge contrast between the amount of care we're doing all the time and we're providing for people around us, and the fact that it's not sustainable, kind of raises the question if we could use art and culture to build communities of care, to weave the social fabric around care. Because I think right now there's this culture of individualism that kind of broke some of the previous structures in society, like family or community, or maybe it made it evolve. I don't know. I don't want to be very pessimistic here, but it's just like my personal feeling is that we could rely on those communities if they're empowered by art, because they're anyway doing much of the work in well-being around the globe. So the system, hospitals, I don't think are a place of care. They're kind of like the last resort. Care happens a lot before that or after that.
I was wondering if maybe you want to also say a little bit about your project at this point.
Sure.
I think it's maybe also nice to have some more specific examples in the conversation.
Our premise is very simple. It's that there's a lot of informal care going on around us, and some of the people providing it are prepared for it, some are not. Some have healthy coping mechanisms, some are just at the end of their resources, and they are becoming victims of the too much giving. So what we are looking at is narrative research into finding caregivers that have coping strategies, and then finding people that need those coping strategies, that would benefit from somebody sharing those coping strategies with them in a context that they understand. Like if they go through a similar experience, two parents that care for a child that has epilepsy, for example, they understand each other a lot better. And our purpose is to do this narrative research and find the people who both are struggling or have healthy strategies, then do some group meetings, group support, facilitate a group support program where they exchange those values and they create maybe the beginnings of some small communities, and then put them in contact with resources that are very hard for them to find by themselves. Like when you're caring 24/7 for somebody, it's very hard to get out of isolation and find resources and be aware of things that are happening around you. So by creating these intersections, people start to share resources, not just coping mechanisms. So kind of from isolated caregiver to a community that's sharing coping mechanism, this is our project. And the last step is Ioana, my colleague. She is a director of DOP, director of picture, I think, director of image. She's a cinematographer. And we are hoping that some of the stories and the successful coping mechanisms can be shared at a larger scale through documentary that's co-created with the caretakers. So we're kind of challenging people to think about a message they want to send out there to the general public, to other caretakers, and to policymakers. So this is in a nutshell.
Thank you, Ioana. Do you want to add something to Marius?
I only wanted to say that mainly our final goal in 10 years, if we're still going to be here for the climate change, is to really understand how we could create rituals, like the way we have rituals for dealing with someone's loss, in the way the way funerals work, and all that's around it, so we can address this loss that is not so certain, is more uncertain, and in the way looking at the system of care that it's lacking, because I don't think we have a system of care. We have a system of surviving burnouts and overwork, that we didn't manage to create companionship.
Yeah. Does anyone have questions or responses to what Marius and Ioana presented about their work? I mean, I'd be happy if I don't have to be an intermediary in all this, you know. So if you just decide to open your mic and say things that you want to say. Well, if not, I'll feel obliged to do this.
But I have a question back at you guys, because we're not very, as you've seen, this is not necessarily an art project. But one thing that struck me yesterday was this concept of wellwashing, because I'm very much aware of greenwashing. So when I heard about wellwashing, it was kind of, this is something we struggle with, not to think we understand too much and try to represent things from other people's perspective, but to give voice to the actual people. So we're afraid of taking one story and turning it into a success story, and then just shutting maybe other voices out there because we've launched a new stereotype, which is a challenge with rituals maybe. So I'm just curious whether you have any kind of processes to be aware and avoid this type of pattern where a successful pilot can become the biggest enemy of your long-term project.
Mm. I wonder, Roma, maybe do you have any experiences after working for the European Capital of Culture with your project?
As I said, this was only, I would say, for European Capital of Culture. Actually, some projects survived after European Capital of Culture. It was several events and projects, they are still going on. It's like music day once a year and culture night. But my project didn't, didn't get funding, long-term funding, and I'm still struggling for the long-term funding. Now I'm preparing application because we have some changes in the Lithuanian Culture Fund program. And if I, now from this year, several projects which will win the contest will be funded for 3 years. So I hope it's a good start for some bigger projects with bigger impact, but it's only the start of the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and funding seems to be a challenge, I guess, everywhere.
I was just I was just thinking that the kind of individualism that Marius was talking about needs to be also deconstructed in the sense that when you do prevention, it's also not only about only the individual, but like to look at the societal factors that affect basically the well-being of people. And it's not only their response to the environment, it's in some instances it's really the environment. And we need to also not forget that, like this is one thing that is important in I think, and this is my input on what Marius was saying, like the kind of risk that you would have to overlook this and to look only at the responses of individuals and how we can deal with that and do better prevention with individuals, but also, yeah, need to look at the wider societal picture and whatever.
Yeah, I think this is a big concern also for me too. So I would actually turn the question back to you, Alex and Marius and Ioana, or who else is willing to answer it. What do you think would be the way to do it? Like to be able to support the individual, but make sure not to put the whole responsibility on the individual, because actually there will be in the end, we turn out to have further pressure on the individual that will not succeed to overpass burnout on their own, because you cannot actually do this by yourself when the whole system runs at the pace that either excludes you if you're not keeping up or stigmatizes you. So the question is, how do you do it? How do you do it in a sensitive, sensible way?
I would only deepen the the reflection in the sense that even if you would have a system that works pretty well and humane and nicely, just thinking about the kind of, and there is this thing of climate anxiety, even if you think about how many people are affected on a fundamental level because of the lack of trust basically in the future, like uncertainty at a fundamental level, and also deep distrust in the structures that we have, because objectively we need to do things very fast, but things are not moving as fast, and like that gives you all sorts of frustrations and whatever. And that is also but I have no idea how to do it. Like, I was just thinking it could be worse, like it could, yeah. Actually, I mean, I have some ideas, but like just sorry.
I'm very rooted in this climate anxiety that you're sharing, because I'm also an eco anxiety sufferer. But in this context, actually, and to kind of pick up on what Ralitza was saying, my first concern, big concern with this project was exactly that we're kind of doing the central state's work by doing this. And in a sense, I'm coming and saying, look, there's a lot of informal work. The state doesn't do anything to support it. Let's just organize ourselves better and just deal with it, which in a sense it's counterproductive, because you're the main responsible, let's say, central system, you're kind of relieving it of extra stress instead of having him share some of the responsibility. So this was some of my first thoughts on the subject. But looking at what Alex is saying is, actually, I'm very pessimistic right now that the central system will ever recover enough to deal with this issue properly. So I'm trying to be more of a realist. And when challenged with political and economical instability, with unfathomable numbers of disasters possible in the uncertain future, our reliance on a central solution still seems like unrealistic, optimistic from us. Like, I don't think this is the way to go, because we will just say, we will have that attitude that somebody must do something about this. And that will further drive us into very individualistic approaches. And I really think that breaking that, facing this real possible future head on and saying, okay, nobody will come help us. The first days of COVID was full of people that would organize locally. It was full of people who would create volunteer efforts to help. And we have in Cluj amazing examples of that. And I really think that it will be hard for the central systems to be able to manage things when the stressors become even bigger. So because of that, piloting, but then even taking further, very flexible, local, very, very small communities. That's why we believe in rituals, because rituals don't need a handbook this big. Rituals don't need a big YouTube video of 1 hour for you to understand how it works. Rituals would just jump around in communities. They will adapt to the specific local context, will evolve, will be viral, and they will maybe help some specific contexts. So I think this kind of very lightweight, very adaptable pattern that is tested and becomes somewhat universally relevant can be, in this very connected world, can be a very local solution. And I really think it can utilize local resources. We're amazed. We were late, 5 minutes late to the meeting, because we were invited by some caregivers in the park to just hang out. And the group is growing, and they keep sharing both resources and challenges. And they have a lot to share. Like, there's a huge amount of things these people share between them. They just don't have the space and the individual resources to set up that space. And it's incredible. Once somebody sets up a safe space for anybody, pretty much, that safe space is being utilized. And I don't think there's a central system will do that. However, I do think we're kind of giving everybody a get out of jail free pass here. And I really think at one point, once this becomes more clear, we should divert some support and funding. And some of what Roma was saying earlier is, you do this successful project, it's a pilot, you get money for it. But then because, and I think this is an actual factor in the way the decisions for further funding is, it's kind of, we touched on that, and there's this good example of how we could make it work, but then we don't really want to invest in solving it all the way. We kind of say, we proved it can be done. Okay, it's up to whomever else to replicate this. And because of that, you won't get funding for your next project or the scale up, because it was proven, you know. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I just feel like there's this weird paradox that we do rely on centralized systems, but then in reality, the community around us is what we really have in cases of extreme urgency. So I don't know. I think that's where the solution lies.
Thank you. I'm opening now the floor to anyone to even change the subject totally.
Just a short comment, Marius, just to prove what you were saying. In Lithuania was the same situation. The health ministry wasn't functioning as we expected. So several very strong community initiatives actually helped the situation. And one strong initiative from the business was fund and support for the hospitals, but actually very big two communities, just informal communities initiative that solves a lot of problems with the masks and the food for workers. So it was community in Lithuania also. So.
I'm not saying, I'm trying to lift up the feelings a bit. Maybe I have seen initiatives which were bottom up and then later on taken up by the municipality. So yeah, there is, I know there are different contexts and so on, but in Izmir, I was there and you could see that there was a totally informal formation of a community, which later on just really got very small seed funding of a place or maybe just a catering of the meeting kind of support. So I understand what you're saying, but I guess yeah, there are situations we have to take, and then yeah, I think these community meetings also have to or will enrich us as well. And if we appreciate that part, then and appreciate and embrace and actually the fact that your community is growing is a good thing, no? Because you have changed lives, you have made connections, and people are helping themselves to cope. And yeah, hopefully if you wait until a mayor changes or whatever, that it might be picked up, who knows, but please continue, I would say. But yeah, I don't know, we became like a psychology group now, I think. But actually, I'm very sorry, I have to leave. I have a meeting at 2 as well, so just in brackets. And
okay, thank you, Cornelia. Yeah, I also like just to continue a bit on the subject that you opened. I also have this concern that I think we also had when we started, you know, working with art in public space, and especially like in communities, like this sort of community development movements started from artists. Then there's only a certain amount of energy that you have. Not only talking about resources, because I think this is obviously already brought into conversation, but also your own energy as an artist or even as an activist, to be there in a certain community and take this role of facilitator, to bring in your case, to bring this community of quite fragile and people that already give a lot. And they now notice the need to be together, to support each other. And what happens when your energy is not there for this? How would that go on? And how do you keep that balance and all that responsibility? It seems a lot. Yeah, you're not gonna answer this.
Of course.
No. We definitely didn't want to make the community dependent on us. That was something that we stated from the beginning, and that's something that we always see and share and tell them, because we have trust more in them, and I think somehow that even helps because they know more their needs and they know what exactly they could do, and we're just there in case we can share resources, we can find contacts, we can develop projects that we think we could help. So that's definitely not something that we would like to create. And this is lovely that today some of the caregivers told us that they want to make their kids independent. And we definitely said, okay, this is something that we as well relate to, because we don't want to make you dependent on us. So, and they really, yeah, resonated with that.
It resonated with them. Yeah, great.
Actually, we at one of our first meetings, we really hit some red flags and buttons, because a couple of people actually asked us up front. We thought you were going to provide us with support groups, and we said, we think support groups work better when they're facilitated by the community. And this is not because we think, it's kind of like that's the main difference between support groups and therapy, group therapy. And some of them got they were disappointed at us, and they felt abandoned. Even if it was our first meeting, they already felt abandoned, and it made sense for us. We knew that was a risk we were taking, but we would rather trigger that red flag early on than create an unhealthy dependency, and that would hurt a lot worse later. So the first thing of our design is this, that we very, very early upfront, we tell them that we're not the resource that's going to save them. And this was a very interesting thing, because they looked at us and said, you're not the usual humanitarian NGOs that come save us. You're not the state that comes to check us out, check our papers. You're artists, and we don't know what to do with you. That's what they said. And we looked at them and we're
Who
like,
are you?
Yeah, we were like, we don't know what to do anyway, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure, is there anyone else that wants to share something more about their own work, their project, something that you do, and maybe also what you would like to ask from this community? If not, this is an open conversation at any point. I would invite you to go to this conversation that was kind of high on the topic list, also in our poll, the partnerships. Maybe would you be interested to share a little bit of your experiences at the local level? What type of partnerships are working for you, and what would you need more in terms of partnerships? I don't know, with those that can support your projects, but maybe also if you're in the arts, with the people in the health sector. I don't know, Janna, if you are there, it would be interesting to hear how it works in your case, since you already managed to have sort of a local strategy for cultural well-being.
So what we are doing up here, I try to explain. I'm like Lena told before, in Oulu we have this local strategy plan, the program that we are working with our social welfare system, and it's a program that there are many. Oh, it's so hard to explain in English all these things. That the most important thing there is that we are trying to we are having the contact person in the social sector in our city in different departments, and those people are really, they are named that they will be the cultural contact persons, and we are working with them. And because this is the program that City of Oulu has really, how to say it, it's a legal document that everybody have to do what is writing down there, and those cultural persons, those people who are named to be those cooperating persons. They are working together, like when we are thinking that there is an area of people who are working for the elderly people in Oulu, in the city of Oulu. All they are named persons who are working for the elderly people, and they are working together, those cultural persons, and kind of raising the knowledge about art and well-being. And that's the most important thing, I think, that we are in cultural people like me, we are doing workshops and things together with those people who are working in cultural sector, that they will know what it means, how the art and culture will affect, and they will participate in workshops where they can do and do things themselves, so they will have the experience how the art will affect, and then they are more open to do those things for their patients, like in elderly houses, or they are more open and they understand more why some artists should come in the house, in elderly care house. Can I explain this clearly? I don't know if you understand me, but I think that's the most, one of the key things that they will know by heart, by their own experience, that what it means. And now, as it's written down in our program, they really have to do it, and I think that's one of the main things, and also that when they realize more that how the art and culture can affect for the well-being, they can think. So they can think, they can find those places where you can use art and culture inside of they field, like for instance in these elderly care houses. So when they have more knowledge that how the music affects, how the dance affects, how all those things affects, they can find those places where they can put it more, and where they can bring up artists on, or they have workshops. Do you understand me? I don't know. And when we are doing the same thing for in the sector where there are people working with people with special needs, or the fit handicapped, or with all those people. And we are doing the same thing, that we are named cultural persons for those in those fields, and we are bringing knowledge, or trying to bring knowledge for them as well. And for the people who are working with the children and with families. And like we are in the north, up north here, the system is it's quite organized, and the structure is quite clear. But even though there are so many people, and it's hard you have to find the right persons with whom you want to work with. And I think that's also the very important, that you have to know with whom you want to work with, and who are the people who are more open to develop new things, and more open for the new ideas, and who will understand that there is something that art and culture matters somehow. And we are also planning to have, or we are having, oh, now I'm speaking English for you, we are planning to have so kind of educational program for those cultural people in the social sector, really have kind of those workshops for them, that they will experience by themselves what the art and culture is, and also giving them some kind of tools, what they can, art tools, so to speak, what they can do with their patients. And there will be different artists who will teach them and tell them how the arts will affect. And I hope it's gonna work like this. At least we have planned all this. And yeah, that's all is part how to raise the awareness or the knowledge of those people about art and culture. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. It's an incredible model, and probably for us in Romania, it's quite a big question. When would we be able to have, for instance, in each social or institution or health institution, one person in charge of culture? I mean, even if they would have it with the name, but not with the budget, and probably not with the necessary expertise that you were mentioning. I'm wondering, in the system as it is designed now, where is the artist coming? Where is the initiative of the artist? So can the artists come and propose some of their work to you or to these people that work in these institutions? How do they get support? How does it work?
Many by me not at first, but nowadays there are artists who now they know already where to go, how to find those. When we are speaking in the city of Oulu area, that they know those places, they know those persons to whom contact with. And so it had been this kind of timeline that first that artists didn't found those, they didn't know with whom to whom contact with. They didn't find the persons when they had, but now little by little they know to whom they had to make the contact. And in Oulu we have this kind of how you call it, kind of group of artists who are specialized for art and well-being methods, or how you call it. And there is like maybe 20 artists, and they are well known, and they are very active, and they kind of look different places where to go, and they find out finance and fundings by themselves, and they are doing a lot of cooperation with the city of Oulu, and we are kind of helping each other. And they are our, because in city of Oulu we don't have artists in our pay list. We are just office workers, but the artists are in this. They have their own, how you call it, society, or how you call those, yeah. But as city of Oulu is it's small. It's easy to find, not easy, but now it's we know each others quite well. But it's always the problem, like here we have been talking, that how to make all these things being more effective and more long term. That when you have this funding for the small time, for a year or for 2 years, and then it's ending, it's not good. We are having the same problems as we are speaking here. But in Oulu we have, I don't know if you are having this, how you call it, when people are dying and they are giving them their money to the city, this kind of heritage money, how you testament, how you call it.
People kind of leave to the city their money. They die.
Yeah, they can do it, and those monies, they are all to put together, you can say like this, and from there you can there are some rules to how to use those money from this where they are put, and there's rules that you can use those money from for the elderly people, or the people from the handicapped people, or the people with special needs, and for their restment, or for their cultural things now. So now that's the one And that's the system in Finland that I know they are using this in many big cities, like in Tampere and in Helsinki and in Turku, that they are using those monies that the people who are dying are left for the city. And they are using those money to make the art and well-being things. And I think it works quite well, and there can be a lot of money. But there are rules, and there are group who are people from the culture side and the people from the social care or the healthcare side, kind of making the decisions how to use that money. And there is kind of system how to use it. But that's something extra which is coming not from the city budget but from the outside.
Wow, this is really interesting. I have no idea what happens with this type of money in our case, if anyone would ever leave the money to the public.
Yeah, you know, the people who don't have families, or who just for some reason they want to leave their whole everything for the city, they can do it. And there are also, I know that there is what's the name of this when you are dying and you are giving your money? Heritage?
Yes, it's inheritance.
Okay, this heritage funding. Then there is also in government of Finland has also a big heritage funding system also, and the cities have their own. And the cities can ask from this Finland's government heritage funding system money as well. I don't know if you understand me.
Yeah. We only have the lottery. We finance culture from the lottery.
Okay, in Finland also we have this lottery money is one of the biggest, yes, and all those monies are going down now, I think everywhere, because it's the problem.
Well, I think online betting is still keeping that system alive nowadays. And actually, they are very much interested to support well-being related projects, which is a very interesting kind of conflict. But obviously, like, they were the first type of companies to express interest in supporting, for instance, our project.
Okay, but in your countries, do you have is the social how you call it, minister of social aware things? Are they giving any money for the art and well-being?
No, I mean, not even the Ministry of Culture is giving money for culture.
Okay.
So they're not giving for arts and well-being in general. So we don't even have we have some sort of an arts council that would give money for artistic projects, but not to individual artists. And that will only happen through open calls twice a year, but only for projects that are running for several months. So there's never money for 2 years, for instance. Well, I think it's a quite sad situation for the cultural funding in Romania. So I think we should not go into it because we can cry about it and complain about it for 2 more hours. But
maybe it's better we have it better, because the culture of the Minister of Culture is giving money, and there is this, like you said, art council. Which is really working for the art and well-being, and they have their own people who are really doing this thing for the whole Finland, and they have their own money as well, and they are giving fundings from there.
I have a question. How many cultural contacts are there? Because you said like the artist community is like 20 people, but the contacts that are responding to this, how many in total? Do you know how many people are involved in the system?
Do you mean artists?
No. The people from the social support programs that are official contact points for cultural work.
Those contact persons.
Yes.
In city of Oulu, we have now them like not so many. I really have to think. In elderly care sector, there are maybe 10. There is also always, there is kind of one person in, and this is very new from us now, that there is one kind of contact person who is in the administrative level, the boss, the big boss, kind of boss level people. And then there are these cultural contact person who are working with those, with patients. So in the higher level people, one, and then those working with patients. And although there are like 5 or 6, no, 5 boss administrative contact person now from the different sectors, and then like 10 to 20 persons per sector on the other level. But we don't have yet contact person from the named persons from the child or the family services. Not yet, not really.
And do they get extra pay? Do they get extra pay for this extra
no,
responsibility?
No. They are just normal. They are those people who are working normally in that area. Just normal. They have kind of interest for the culture thing, but they are just normal employers who are working there. No, they don't get any money or anything else. No.
But maybe some time, like maybe they get like 4 hours a week to allocate to this, or it's based on when somebody calls on them, or because in a sense you're kind of giving them extra responsibility. I'm thinking you need to give them some support, right?
Yeah. And that's the very important to give them some support and make the inter network to work together and give them some ideas and keep in contact with them and kind of help them to work. Yes, that's very important. But that's something very new now that we are just starting to do after this program we have runs out. So it's not ready yet, the whole system. But we are with the elderly care people we have working for the most long time, because everything started from that sector, and they already know. They have done that for so long time. It's more, how you say, structures. It's more ready. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for all these details. I think I was very much curious about how things are going actually in a system that already acknowledges the value of this for a while. Now I see that also some people had to leave.
Yeah.
The question would be if also, I think one of the points that were raised were about being able to stay in touch and still share some information. And our suggestion, I think Adela just posted, is that one platform that we can use for those that are still on Facebook is this Facebook group where we can share links about our projects and post and things like that. And I think with some of you we are already directly in touch. I don't know. I think Roma, I don't think we have been in touch. So I wonder if you would want to be more directly in touch. We could also share emails. I would leave my email here in the chat, and because I could see how also even for designing and working in partnership in future projects, it could be interesting to stay in touch. So. But I post my email here, so you have the choice not to respond to it. It's up to you. Yeah. I guess with the others that are left here, we already have each other's contacts. Now, I wonder if there's anyone that wants to add something, anything.
It has been interesting and everything, but I'm so sorry that I can't speak English more clearly. It would be so nice to explain things more clearly for you all, but yeah, it takes some time. I'm not very used to speak my work things in English, so little by little, I hope.
Little by little, but I think it's been really clear for us, and for me it answered a lot of questions. And you know, I'm rewatching the Star Trek series over and over, and you know, these universal translators maybe one day they will be there and we will not have to all speak bad English. Yeah. Roma, would you like to still say something before we leave?
I just want to say thank you for the conference, for all the conference. It was very inspiring several days, and thank you for the Facebook group you created. So it's also one instrument to get in touch. Hope to contact you soon and for the joint projects.
Yes, it would be nice to also hear more about your work, actually. So if you care to just share more about your work with us, we would be really happy to
I
hear
already
what you've been
started
doing.
writing a letter for you.
Whoa, great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So thanks, everyone. It's really... Dan, you want to say something? You have to open your mic before you say that. Dan, you have to open your microphone.
I want to say something. Thank you for conference. And I think that culture is a cure when you canalize your energy, use a lot of love and wisdom, create your own balance and find unity. This makes you discover creativity to reach more awareness. The culture is pure, and I hope the culture for the with help of the culture, find the unity in diversity and solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for these words. I think it's great that that you shared this with us. Yes, love. Yes, we are looking for a little bit more love. Thank you. It was really nice to have also the chance after the webinar kind of format to see faces more directly, and looking forward to have the chance for more interactions with you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.